I have a big favor to ask you right off the gate. For this video, please don't fall for the bait of Barbie. I'm not saying it's good bait or bad bait, and we'll get into what that even means later. But everyone everywhere has been sharing their opinions on this movie, and a lot of people have made up their minds on whether or not it's good or bad. And for right now, don't do that. I want to look at how people are reacting to this thing, because there's a lot of fighting about it. And for a brand, all discourse is good discourse. So we're not going to treat this movie like it's the feminist message from God herself. And we're also not going to view the movie as the harbinger of misogyny here to vaporize all men. I've already contributed to the mess by including the word Barbie in this YouTube title, so I'm going to be trying to undo that damage with this video. And by making it clear, we're taking a nuanced look at Barbie, the movie, and the unnuanced responses it's been receiving, particularly from loud men with weird voices. I'm hoping this video won't be very challenging. Ideally, it's short and sweet, but I do think this needs to be said, even if it just serves as a gentle reminder about how global attention can distort the meaning of anything. Okay, so what's going on? What happened? First there was nothing, and then there was Barbie. Not to go all film major on you, but I don't think it's too revolutionary to say that movies can be about different things. Right? Right, Ben Shapiro? And Barbie is no different. It's about many different things. I'm saying different too much. The movie is just destroying records. People are still talking about it. The memes aren't going anywhere. This is still very much a cultural moment. Not every film gets this treatment, not even every discourse, but we're dealing with a cultural pinpoint, a little singularity that is now sucking everything around it into it like a black hole. Barbie, the product, was this way too. It's a doll with jobs. When this was released, there was a pushback of, women aren't supposed to have jobs. That was somebody's real argument once. That's probably somebody's real argument now. Even just the concept of a Barbie is rooted in feminist ideals, because she can own her own pink house and she can wear girly clothes, but she can also be the president or an astronaut or an Oreo eater? The trailers are all light and silly, and even though there's a few little scenes that hint that something larger is going on, a lot of general audiences probably see this as an inoffensive, family-friendly movie they can take their kids to and then, turn their brain halfway off. But once I knew that this was going to be directed by Greta Womanhood is a Gift and also a life sentence Gerwig, it was clear it had something up its sleeve. Even just knowing her track record, you know this was gonna come out of nowhere with some hard-hitting, very impactful moments. And it did. It was full of nuance. Greta Gerwig, I love you. Without spoiling too much, this movie features the abrupt realization that we are not treated equal. It confronts the double standards that the Barbie doll represents, and it uses big words like feminism and patriarchy. But remember, this is just a movie, right? It is a vessel for the discussion. Don't get a tattoo of Barbie yet. Whether you hated or enjoyed the movie, try not to build it up so much that it begins to shape your personality, because it's a product from a brand and we don't want that. And I feel like I have to say this because big words like feminism and patriarchy will draw in the attention of a lot of, how do I put it? A convention's worth of loud and angry people, demographic skewing men with large platforms and a lot of rage to burn. The outrage from these people about Barbie was extra loud because the movie wasn't using progressive subtext. It was text. And if your film is pro-women and from a big brand, these people are just gonna act like you just kicked down the door and robbed their dream house. Usually, corporate diversity inclusion turns out to be a side character with one gay scene, and just that is enough to fuel these men who cry woke for an entire week. This film was 3,420 of those little 2-second clips. So whatever the exchange rate is for minutes to angry men, it's gonna be ugly. I don't know the math, but I don't want to do it. For every reasonable review of Barbie, there is a 10-minute rant about how it was man-bashing and anti-men and evil feminist woke propaganda that sneaks up on you and attacks your kids in the night. Insightful reviews point out the film's intended message, whether or not it landed for them, and maybe even suggest some ideas for it to tweak in the next time. Uninsightful reviews of this movie are basically just, "This movie was mean to Ken." Just pure impulsive anger reactions as if trying to mask fear. This is why I keep mentioning the bait, because by far, this is the largest group who fell for it. The Barbie movie just existed, and it sent forums of men into a tailspin of a tantrum. And there's room for the argument, oh, Duncan, they're just passionate about filmmaking, and no, there's no room for that argument. That's clearly not what this is about. A good majority of the people angry at this movie are not even discussing filmmaking as a craft, it's this. It's a picture of Canada man Justin T and his son at the theater, captioned, "We're Team Barbie." Oh nice, so they saw the movie together. Bet the replies of this are wholesome. "So glad I'm not Canadian. Canada must be falling apart like America at the moment. It's hard to believe that he's real, but it's true. Canada." Flag emoji. This movie should not be held as the gold standard of feminist filmmaking, just the same way as it should not be held as the most anti-man movie of the decade. Calm down. Majority of these people don't even think it's that deep. They're just trying to egg on this woke war they're trying to convince you is happening. And if anything I've said hasn't convinced you enough, or you feel still the need to engage in this discourse, to argue for your own opinions, let's just consider this. Oh, okay. Got it. Most people would agree that Barbie is a movie with a feminist message, right? That's what Greta Gerwig intended the film to convey. She approached the project with that lens and did her best to work that way into our own interpretation of the movie. But also, as soon as this movie was released, it was out of Greta's hands. Now those film's intended themes, whatever they may be, are now up for public consideration, and the general public is not going to all share that same lens. It's the same as every movie, every song, picture, art of any kind that was ever released. And this is where arguing about the film becomes an impossible chore with no ending. If someone like Ben is convinced that this movie is anti-man by his opinionated interpretation, no one is going to convince him otherwise, and no one should waste breathing air attempting to do so. We're dipping our toes a little bit into the art versus the artist of it all, just to point out that everyone who's seen this movie has supported Greta Gerwig and Warner Brothers. They both profit from this film. Whether you loved the movie or you hated the movie, if you paid to see it, then you have contributed to both of these parties. That's the reason why it passed $1 barbillion, is because it's going to make money no matter how you feel about it. And as much as I want to give my credit card information to Greta Gerwig, this movie also supports a studio that is evil. And they don't even seem to understand the movie's success because they want to do it again with other things. The movie itself even makes little in-jokes about being product placement. So don't think you're fighting back against the Ben Shapiros by seeing the movie 4 times or giving it extra money. Don't do that. My focus is more so on how every human has a biased lens. Whether it's conscious or subconscious, the way we develop as people, we have opinions, that's the way we view things. And all of us probably think that our biases are pretty reasonable. We all think that we're doing the right thing here, but the amount of differences there are, clearly, we're not on the same page. There is nowhere in the description of this movie that references girl power or feminism. Most reviews seem to intentionally avoid this, not because it'll draw backlash, but because that's the theme you're supposed to pick up on, not have your mind made up about going into the film. Anecdote, I was a little bit too young the first time I watched Jurassic Park, and when things were getting a little bit too intense, my little raisin brain decided that, you know what, I'm gonna start rooting for the dinosaurs. So I switched teams, and all of a sudden, there was no tension in the movie because I had just decided to view it that way. One person could say Star Wars is about politics. One person could say it's about family. One person could say it's about how the Napoleonic Wars affected France's animal adoption policies. All three of these takes are true for each individual viewer, and all three of these people are probably at your local film school, so, be careful. Of course, more sides will have textual evidence that they can use to back up their argument, but you can't tell someone that their interpretation of something is wrong. You can't say that they're feeling incorrectly. Policing people's emotions is a very muddy area, so if someone makes up their mind about something, that's kind of it. That's where it stops. There is no right or wrong way to feel about art. Like, the artist might have had an intention in mind or something you were supposed to pick up on, but you can't expect it to land with everybody who comes into contact with it. Like, people are just going to get lost. I could say that this painting is actually about spaghetti, and if I hold true to that, no one can convince me otherwise. That spaghetti opinion might irritate you and make you mad, but you have to accept that that's my interpretation of it. The reason why there are so many male voices complaining about this Barbie movie is because A, there's enough textual substance to make the claims they're making, and B, they want to do that. That's how they wanted to see it. They didn't have any other intentions. Speaking for myself, I think the Barbie movie has a lot to say about the expectations put on girls, accepting the pain that makes us human, and how systems like patriarchy are meant to suppress women as well as other men. But that's just what I took from the movie, and you might have taken something different. We're gonna have to agree to disagree. Debates about movies or their themes are only fun when you care about what the other side has to say. And I don't care about what he has to say. I don't even want to watch it to know the extent to which we disagree. I'd rather spend my time elsewhere. If I could leave you with any suggestion, it's don't watch these videos just to see how wrong they are, because it supports them and it enables them to do it more often. I think the goal there should be to find discussions that make you think, and not to be condescendingly lectured to. And that's all the time I'm giving myself. I will no longer talk about my opinions about Barbie. The only opinion you should be listening to or paying any attention to is your own. It gets a 10 out of 10 from me. It's a really good film. Greta Gerwig, please answer my emails. Bye. I love you. Good night. Hi everyone. This is the day I'm uploading this. Like, I'm working on it right now, so excuse how I look. I hope you enjoyed the video. I worked a lot on it. I know it's short, but it's pretty dense, and I just hope that you guys enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed making it. You don't have to follow my Instagram, and you don't have to follow my Twitter or X, but you do have to like, comment, and subscribe. I will be in the comments happily reading all of your thoughts on this, so please share them. No questions about the tattoo though. What do you think of these arguments? Did you like the movie? Do you have a spare room in your inn? Alright, I've recorded myself like this for too long. I hope you guys have a great week. Take care of yourselves. Take care of others. I love you lots. Bye.